to like today's lesson now. So today's lesson we're gonna be making a game called the number guessing game. So you could just make a new file and get maybe code it with me, and if so that if you have any problems you can just ask me there and there. So for a number guessing game, wait, uh, did it work, Maria, or what? O- Okay, that's good. Alright, so for a number guessing game, as I already explained, you get the computer to generate like a random number, and then you have to guess it, and then it'll tell you if you guessed it correct or not. So the very first challenge for a number guessing game is you have to get a computer to create a random number, which computers aren't usually capable of. That's only something humans can do. So what what we do to create a random number is you use this code right here. So you don't have to memorize this. You could just copy it off like internet or just save it. It's basically a general syntax used whenever you need to create a random number. So what it does is it takes like the time on your PC at the time and then puts it through an equation and then gives you like a random number that it generates. So you don't really need to know how this works, but you just as long as you know that it creates a random number, that's fine. So for this you give it two parameters, so it's int min and int max. So what these basically do is it you set your minimum value and your maximum value. So whatever you set these to, so over here I have it set to 1 and 10. Whatever random number the computer generates, it's gonna create a number that's between 1 and 10. So like over here, if we do cout number, it's always gonna give you a number between 1 and 10. Okay, you got 6, 1, 7, 9, 9, 1. So as you can see, it always gives you a number between 1 and 10. But if I change this to like 100, it's gonna give me a number between 1 and 100. As you can see, 6 is just any number between 1 and 100. So that's a helpful tip. So you can just say you don't have to like have this memorized. You can just copy it off someplace. So anyway, moving on to the number guessing game. So you have the first part done where it creates a random number. But the second part is you need to make the user guess what the number is. So for this, we're just gonna say cout, and let's say make your guess, and that should be good. And then you just int guess, and then guess. So now the user can enter whatever his guess is. But the problem is, at this point, the computer only takes in what the guess is, but it's not gonna tell you if the guess is correct or not. So for this, you're gonna need to use an if statement. So for if statement, you need an if statement and a condition. So let's just say guess equals num. So this just tells us, this just checks if your guess is equal to the number the computer generated, which if that's true, then it's gonna cout you guess correctly, right? So this all this does is if your guess is equal to whatever number the computer generates here, then it's just gonna say you guessed correctly, right? And we just say else cout that that. So what happens here is, let me just change this real quick. So far your computer is gonna generate a number between 1 and 10, and then it's gonna ask you to enter your guess. And over here, it's gonna check if your guess is equal to whatever number the computer generated. So if it is, then it's gonna print out you guessed correctly. But if it's not, then it's gonna print out you guessed incorrectly. So let's test it a few times. So I'm gonna just input 6. Oh, okay, so that was wrong. And let's say 3. That's wrong. So one way to check if this part is working, because you have no way to know if this part is working correctly right now, is you just say cout number. So this way it's going to tell you what the random number is, so you can just input that and check if this part is working correctly or not. So over here, let's see. So the number it generated is 2, so let's just input 2. And it says you guessed correctly. So our code seems to be working fine so far. So I'm gonna just comment this out because it's just there for debugging purposes. So this is your main framework for the game. You basically done like the basic game. This is all you need for the game so far. But if you want to make this more interesting, wait, actually, before I'm asked, does anyone have any questions about this so far? Before we make it more complicated? Alright, no questions. Does anyone want to catch up with this code while we wait? I'll give you guys like 5 minutes to catch up with the code and make sure your code is working as well. Yeah, I'll have the code up on the screen so you guys can make sure you're doing it correctly. Alright, I'm gonna assume no one had any problems, so we're gonna move on and make this a little more complicated. So one way to make this like a bit more complicated is you could give the user a certain number of tries. So let's say you have like 3 tries to guess it. So I'm gonna make a new variable called tries, make it equal to 0. And how this will work is you make a while loop and give, let's say we have let's give it 3 tries, right? So let's say tries is less than 3. So that's your condition right there. And then just um yeah, let's just indent this so everything looks nice and neat. So this is your while loop. So far it gives you 3 tries, but it doesn't really say anything. So let's just so let's say tries plus plus at the end. And also it's really important to write your while loop over here and not over here, because if you start your while loop over here and take the random number generator in your while loop, then that just means it's gonna generate a random number for each try. So having tries just doesn't really make sense at that point. So it's important that you have your while loop over here below the random number generator, so that the number that the computer generates is the same. So over here, so now we have 3 tries, I think. Let's see if it works. So let's say 5. Okay, wait. Let's just add an end line over here so it's neater. And let's try this again. Okay, let's try 8 or 3. Okay, so all of my guesses were incorrect. But now let's see if this part, if the if statement still works. Okay, so the number is 2, so let's say 3. It doesn't work. But now if I say 2, you guess correctly. But if you see, it still says make your guess. So right now we don't really have a way of stopping the loop. Even if you guess it correctly, it's still gonna ask you to use a third try, which you don't really need if you guess the number correctly. So what we can do to help this is we add a break statement over here. So what this does is if the number is, if your guess is correct, then it's just gonna break, means it's gonna exit the while loop, so it wouldn't ask you for another try. So let's try this again. So I'm gonna get it wrong the first time, and then if I get it correct, it just stops the loop. It doesn't ask me for a third time to make my guess. So that's that's all cool. But one way we can make this even better is we can output how many tries the user has left before he makes each guess. So let's say, okay, it just does it for us, I guess. So what this does is it says before you make a guess, it says you have and then 3 minus tries. So 3 minus whatever this is. So it's going to tell you how many tries you have left. So let's see if this works. Okay, so you said you have 3 tries left. Make a guess. Okay, I'm going to say 5. You have 2 tries left. If I still say 4, you have 1 try left, and if I get it correct, it stops. So with that, we've basically made like the main game. So this is like probably as complex as you guys would probably need to know. With this, you can do interesting stuff, like if you change the max number. So let's say if I make it 100, so then it's gonna give you a number between 1 and 100, and you have 3 tries to guess that. Or you could you could increase this number to, like, let's say 10. So this means now I have 10 tries to guess a number between 1 and 100, right? Or you could even change the minimum value to a different number. So you can really play around with it however you want and then tweak it as you like. So does anyone have any questions about this so far? Okay, I'm gonna just give you 2 minutes to catch up real quick. Alright, so no one has any questions about this so far? Could we move on? Alright. So moving on, we could make this even more complicated and fun. So what we can do is, I'm gonna just change these back to 10 and 3. What we can do is make it so whenever you guess it, the computer tells you if your guess was higher or lower. So that's gonna help the user guess better, I guess. So yeah, so we're gonna work on that right now. So we don't really we just add another else if and give a condition. So in this case, we're gonna say guess is greater than number, right? Okay, and then start a bracket. Wait a minute. Yeah. Okay, so right now, what this is gonna do is if your guess is greater than the number, then it's gonna say cout. Um, right. So currently what this part of the code does is if your guess was greater than the random number, then the computer is gonna say your guess was higher than the number. So you know to like move down or have a lower number as you guess, right? So we can make the same thing for if the guess is lower. So let's just say else if else if guess is lower than the number, um cout. Okay, I guess I can't spell anymore. Cout guess is lower than the number. Alright. So again, well, similar to this, what this does is if your guess was lower than the number, then it's gonna tell you that the guess was lower, so you know to pick a higher number next time. But currently, what these do is when either of these happens, it's not gonna say um, your tries. It's not gonna add to your tries, right? So what we do is we just say tries plus plus for both of them. So that you know it adds to your tries. Wait, let me just and over here, so now this statement it doesn't really make any sense to have it now that you have lower and higher guess. It tells you if your guess is lower or higher. So we can just change it to else if and add a condition that let's say tries else if tries is greater than what was it? Else if tries equals 3 because you have 3 tries, then it's gonna say you're out of tries or you're out of guesses. And then we don't really need this anymore. So now what it does is you have 3 tries, then it's gonna tell you that it's gonna tell you how many tries you've left. It's gonna ask you to make your guess. And over here, if your guess is equal to the number, then it's gonna say you guessed correctly and leave the loop. But if your guess is greater than the number, then the computer is gonna tell you that your guess was higher. So it, that just helps you pick a better number next time. And over here, then it says your guess was lower than the number if it was lower. So both these conditions they help you get to the number eventually. And this last part is if you reach 3 tries, so that means you're out of tries. So it's just gonna see you're out of guesses, and you just end the code there. So let's run it and see what happens. Alright, so I'm gonna go with 5. Okay, so my guess was lower, so I'll go a higher number this time, 7. And I guessed correctly, so it left the loop. So let's try let's try getting all of them wrong and see what happens. Okay, so the number is 7, so if I input 9, it should say as higher. Yep. If I input like 2, it should say as lower. And if I still get it wrong, that says your guess was a lower number. Okay, but it does not say your guess. Okay, I'm not sure why this part didn't work out. Let's see. Or actually, we can just remove this over here and just add it at the end of the do while. So if we just say over here, tries equals 3, you lost. Sure, that works. And now hopefully it should work. Okay, so it's 5, so if I say 2, guess was lower. If I say 7, it's higher. If I still get it wrong, you get so and you lost. So that seems to be working fine. So does anyone have any questions about what we just did? Because this is pretty complicated, and if you're not very familiar with loops, you might have a problem. Yeah, Malo, you have a question? You can unmute and ask the question. Okay, well, does anyone else have a question? Because this could be kind of confusing at first, but you guys will get there eventually. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, I'm just gonna give you like 3 minutes to work on this, so you guys can catch up and try for yourselves. The tries are not going down. Okay, so you don't have okay, so your tries are not going down. So in this, so do you mean that the tries when you output it doesn't say that the tries are 3, 2, 1 or what? Or does it not go down over here in your actual code? Just it's always 3. So is it always 3 when you output it or in the actual code? Alright, well, I'm just gonna assume that it's always in the output, cause, or I'll just assume both. Actually, it's okay. So for this, you say int tries equals 0, and tries is less than 3, so it goes from 0, 1, 2, 3. So you get 3 tries. 0, 1, 2. I mean, sorry. So you get 2 tries right there. So over here, check if you have this part correct, because you might have gotten this wrong. Check if that condition is true. Because if that's wrong, then the output will always say 3. And if that's not the case, then check if you have these over here at the end of every else if. Just add tries plus plus. Otherwise, it's just never gonna move. So
Yeah, Shlog, I think the problem is just with the output.
yeah,
Like, I think the rest of the code is fine for him.
okay, yeah. So then for output, it's just this part, which you can just copy this actually. Just 3 minus tries. And over here, and just make sure you have tries plus plus at the end of both else ifs, otherwise it wouldn't work. Alright, did you try both the? If you just try both of those and see if it works, and if it still doesn't, then we can see if there's anything else wrong. Did it work, or are you still working on
Yo, Shlo, can you go back to the code?
it? Yeah, my bad. Do you mean you have to leave early? Because if you have to leave early, you can just leave the meeting. It's alright. We're gonna post this video online, so if any of you guys have any questions, you can just look at the video later on. So yeah, or you can just ask right now. Okay, I'll see you later. Uh, Anyone else have any questions? Are you guys done with the code, or what?
Yeah, just give him like a minute or so
Yeah, yeah,
more.
yeah. Yeah. Alright, are you guys done? Or does anyone still need time to copy the code? Or does anyone have any questions about it? Um, alright, okay. I'll just keep the code on screen. If you have any questions, ask. Alright, is everyone done? Or does anyone still need more time? Alright, I'm guessing everyone's done. So we can add more to this game. So like I said before, we can just make the number of guesses like 7 and make the max number 100. So now it's gonna give us a number between 1 and 100 if you guess the correct number. So let's see if I can get it first try. I just go to 50. Oh, wait. Okay, we gotta change this to 7 as well. My bad. So now it should tell us you sent guesses left. Alright, so let's go with 50. 25. Okay, does any questions? Can you send me a screenshot here? I can just copy the entire code and send it to you in chat, so you can just see how it works here. And if you guys want, we can also you can also check it off the video we'd upload soon. So yeah, the video should be up by maybe tomorrow by the end of today. So if you guys have any questions later on, you could email us or just go over the video and see if you can get your questions answered, I guess. So yeah, just continuing on. So 25 was too high, so let's start with 15. That's still higher, 10, and there you go. So you could change these values to whatever you want. So you can make this like 1,000 and give like 2 guesses or like 100. It doesn't really matter. You can play around with it, and yeah, that should be good.
You probably want to change the if tries at the end.
This, oh yeah, you're right. I just changed it to 7 as well. You're right. Alright, so yeah. So does anyone have any questions about this, or I think we can end class there done. So if you guys have no questions, you guys can start leaving, and if you guys have questions, you can just stay back and ask them, and I can help you answer. I can help you solve them. Here.
Yeah, do you have any particular questions pertaining to the code that we could answer now? Because, yeah, because if not, you're free to leave if you'd like.
I mean, if you need a few minutes, just copy the code. I can just here. I'll just copy paste
Yeah,
it.
just send it in chat.
Yeah, just like copy paste it off chat and like put it in, and just like work on it later. And if you still have any questions, you can just email it to us. So yeah. Alright. If that's good, if that's all, then you can leave.
Yeah, and our video should be uploaded, like Shloke said, by the end of the
Yeah.
day or tomorrow, so feel free to check that out.
Yep. Alright, thank you.